Yeah, welcome back, guys. Okay, yeah. So this is one of the the plurals that we can actually be working on. Okay, so do we have any more of those exercises to cover in your book? So not much, right? So we have covered almost all the plurals. Plurals, when it is going to end with s, it can with es. We can have some gender change. Plurals can be there as a part of it, and some of them change it into ves. Some of them change it into ies. So all these things are important, especially when you're actually teaching spellings to children. Okay, the entire agenda of teaching these was for getting the children the awareness of spelling changes,
class.
and the child should also understand the nuances of the meaning also of that particular thing. So we have to begin this particular lesson when the children are able to understand one and many concepts. After you introduce one and many is what you can actually introduce singular and plural. Singular noun and a plural noun can be there. So if you ask me for the ages, right from 5 years onwards, you can introduce. Some of them they begin introducing the plural forms, especially adding s. Okay, adding s at 4.5 itself. So boy, boys, girl, girls. They might actually start using these plural forms in their classes whenever they're actually making sentences to read with it. To improvise all these particular conceptions, no matter what you're teaching, be it compound words, be it suffixes, prefixes, or singular and plural, everything is related to helping the children to understand the spellings and how the word changes. Okay. So to reinforce this, your next last lesson, whatever you have, which is related to re-emphasizing on reading and writing, if you see, you have to have a complete box, and your entire box has to be made. And let me stop sharing that. Okay. So the entire box, whatever the other materials that you actually have it, you have to laminate the cards. Okay. And you can have multiple sentences also in that, and have a mix of all these words, singular words, plural words, anything which is related to our suffixes or prefixes, anything, you put those cards in as sentences itself. Or even if you have any lines from any literature or any kind of poems or the story books also, you can take it. Now, what the child will have to understand and underline is, do I see a singular? Do I see a plural form of it? How does the spelling change? Is there a suffix? Is there a prefix? Is what the child will have to do it. So you can take anything. So whatever we saw in the previous lessons, if you go back to your previous lessons, we saw something called as transcriptions, correct? So transcriptions also had a line, a saying, a beautiful, line from literature. Even we collected rhymes and poems also, right? Even we had riddles, puzzles, everything was laminated and it was kept. So we go back to the same transcription folder. We bring back those. But there, the intention for the transcription lesson was to read. But here, in the last part of our work study, the intention in the transcription box, whatever I pick is, I copy that line and then I would mark. Yeah, there is a plural form of it, or there is a suffix, or there is a prefix of it, right? So that's what I'm going to be working on. Apart from that, I would also concentrate a little bit more when I'm writing. When I'm doing a copywriting, there could be certain punctuations also, like which letter should get a capital letter, where I have to mark my comma. Is there any kind of a questioning question has been written or something? The child will have to mark a question mark, or is there a full stop, the period that I will have to be putting? So the child will also reconsider in my presentation when they're copying something, keeping all my punctuations rightly set. Okay, be it question marks, be it commas, be it full stop, anything. So you will use the same sets. You will go back to transcription sets, pick up anything. You're going to be finding out the word study. Then again, you will go back to your capitalization, comma sentences. We made a lot of question marks. We made a lot of what I could say? We made a lot of label cards, isn't it? So you bring back those label cards and you're going to be reinforcing. So all these are especially given for reinforcing punctuations and spellings for children. So this is what covers our entire language curriculum. Okay, right from oral education to writing and correcting sentences and bringing into the best of best spelling errors. But still, children will have difficulty when it comes down to writing, when it comes down to spellings. So that is when we always ask teachers to look into phonetic rules. Okay, so please note down, do we have phonetic rules for children to actually start working on? So you have to always keep in mind, no matter your book is telling, your book is not telling, you have to follow some rules in your classes. What could be my phonetic rules? See, phonics is always about how you speak. You have to get the right sounds at the right time. The way you pronounce your letter sounds has to be something which is good. But if a teacher is following the phonetic rule in a step-by-step strategical way, it helps the children to read better, to spell better, to write better, and to pronounce better. So where do I start with it is the next question. So please write down. I'll just going to give you a skeletal of it. What all you have to do it in your phonetic rules. Can everybody see here my screen? Yes? Okay. So if at all, if I'm giving some rules, okay, my first rule can be something which can be related to my vowels. As teachers, your first rule, you have to teach children to understand the vowel concepts. Make sure your children are understanding vowels. What are our vowels? We have our short vowels, correct? So how many vowels do we have?
5.
5 vowels. What are the vowels? What are the vowels? Yes. We have E, we have I, and we have U. So that means whenever I am working with my vowels, I'm only concentrating on my short vowels. That means the sounds are going to be A, E, O, A. So I will also have to talk about words which will have only the short sounds, like words like cat, words like mat, words like bat. It has a sound ah, ah, ah. Okay, it is not only PVC words. I can also have 4-letter words, 5-letter words, but the sound of letter A should be ah, short sound. Okay, similarly, it goes for my letter E. Correct? So I can have words like pen, ben, bed, leg. So if anything which goes on, yeah, write as many as possible. So I want each one of you all to remember this. Always begin your lessons with short vowel sounds only. Okay, maybe like I'll give one word, you make the list of it. Okay, so I can say caught, I can say put. Okay, so it's like, or I can say cut. I'll give that. So that's a different one. Okay, so we are going to work with the short sounds. Once the short sounds are done, what is the next thing that you will have to focus on? These are my short sounds. Correct? So every vowel also has a long sound. Now you start working on the long vowel sounds of the letter. Long sound will always help me to understand the sound is nothing but the name of the vowel. What is the name of the vowel A? It's A. So my word will also make the E sound. For example, okay, I can have words like aeroplane. See, when I say aeroplane, I don't say aeroplane. I say aeroplane. So the first letter in that is sounding a long vowel. I can also have a word like this, cake. Yeah. So the double consonant over here, the A hyphen K is making the A sound. So how do I read it? I say k, A, k. This is how I read. K, A, k, cake. Correct? So this is again a long sound for me. We go a little deeper when we go like this, but just get the hang of this. So we did have our long vowel sounds in this particular way. Likewise, do I have a long vowel sound for my letter E? Definitely yes. Maybe I can have an alternative spelling too. Like I can have a word like tree, T-R-E-E, wherein my E-E alternative spelling, which is making the E sound. I say tr, E, E. These two are making the name. So I'm getting E. So always remember, when I say A, when I say E, when I say I, when I say O, when I say U, the sounds are long sounds. When I say ah, eh, e, that's the short sound. Long sounds are nothing but the name of the letters itself for the vowels. So I don't say tra, a. I don't say tra, a. I say tree. So double E is a long sound, which is sounding E. So E is making a long sound for me. Likewise, I might also have a consonant, split digraph also, like say theme. How do I read it? I say th, e, So there are only three sounds here. So th, theme. So this comes under my magic E rule also. Okay. So we can still fill in the letters along with that. You're getting me right? So we can still get for our I. We can still get for our O. So can we make more words for I? For I, what do we have? What do we have for I?
Knife.
Knife. I. Very good. A-N-I-F. So F is a double consonant. So I hyphen E makes the I sound. Very good. Knife. Even I can have time.
Right.
Time. Let's write.
Mice.
Write.
Wine.
All these are my
Mice.
sounds. I. See, you're getting now I. Correct?
Wine.
Could be for my
Wine.
O. Okay, look at the boat. So O-A is also making a O sound. O sound. When we are attending the phonic class,
Rose.
I'll give you all that.
Rose.
Now I have to go back to my home because it's 5:30. So home. O hyphen. So my split consonant is my M. So home. So O. H, O, home. Okay, so that's my long vowel. What about for my U, guys?
Cute.
Cute. Look how cute she is. You. So how do I make my sound? So it's like k. Yes. So it's like k.
Cute.
You.
Cute.
Cute.
Blue. Blue.
Jute. Jute. Then I can have flute. You. Flute. Okay. So all these would be my first rules. The first phonetic rule for us, please remember, you as teachers will have to make sure your child knows the differences between a short vowel sound and a long vowel sound. Is everybody clear with this? Okay. So
Yes, ma'am.
language is something that it is more. Predominantly, we not only talk about teaching them to read and write, but you should also begin with this. So you keep asking questions to your children. Children, how do you write time? So you have to teach them how to read also. Time. So there's a split digraph. So what does that sound? It's So I. So you have to teach them. It's a magic key. So E doesn't take. I don't read it as e ma e me. We don't read it that way. Right? So it's a magic key conceptual. So don't go by phonetic version of it. Okay, let's go with the next one of it. Okay. How do I annotate? I will remove all this. So I'm going to clear all the drawings. If everybody copied these, these are my short vowels. Done? So let's see
Yes,
the
ma'am.
next rule. The second
Yes.
rule in the phonetic could be something, what do we take? After short E, the next one has to be magic E only because you will get a lot of confusion on that. So we usually say the silent E, or we call it as the magic E rule. Okay. Any words that is ending with letter E makes a long vowel sound. Or I can say when there are two vowels in the word, only first vowel and the second one is
Silent.
okay, and the vowel sound is long sound. This is the rule that you can say. When two vowels are there in a word, the first one does the talking and the second one is silent. When it is talking, the short sound of it will become the long sound. For example, I have a word like cake. How many vowels I have? I have the first vowel, I have the second vowel. So what does it say? Only the first vowel will do the talking. It keeps talking. What happens to my second
Long
vowel?
sound.
Second vowel is quiet. And the first sound was ah. Right? Now it becomes a. So it becomes k, ek. Okay, in the spelling we write e, but in reading we don't read the e sound. You understood? So two vowels means the first vowel will take the long sound. So you have to read it also in that way. So a word like cat, Kate. This is cat. This is Kate because ah became a here. Okay, so this is a long sound. So that rule applies. So this is your second word. So words can you give, like for example, when I say, let's say another word. This is sit. What's the I sound here? E. But when I add a E, what does it become?
E.
Sight. See, the
Sight.
I sound, right? Because we added two sounds. Okay, well, let's take another one. I cut my finger. When I add a E, it becomes not kate, it becomes cute. Correct? So you teach them that rule. So always go with the phonetic rule. Let's see another example. Okay, I'm wearing my hat because it is summer. But when I add a magic E to it, it is not hatte, but it becomes hate. Okay, so the short sound becomes the long sound when there are two vowels. These are the rules. Now is where you will go step by step and you will teach your children which rules to apply, when to apply. Okay? Okay, let's move to the next one. Is everybody okay with that? So try with all the vowels. Okay, now we have not tried with letter E, right? We have tried with letter E. Okay, anything else we have not tried? Can you try with O? Yeah. Let's hop. It is not hoppe, but it is hope. See, there's O. So A, E. Okay, so we have done it with all. We have done it with A. We have done it with E. We have not done, no? Let's do with
You, ma'am.
pet. So I can say peach. It is not pete. It becomes peach. Okay. So try with all your vowels A, E, I, O, U with these combinations and see how your children are reading, because you are now introducing children to the magic E concepts, which is little trickier for them to read. Okay, we go with this. Slowly is where you will tell them that certain consonants are also tricky, children. Okay, we always tell them that the vowels are very special. You always tell them. So what would you can do is like, you can write the entire letters. If somebody asks me how many alphabets, there are no 26 alphabets. There are only two alphabets, an uppercase alphabet, a lowercase alphabet. In each of those alphabets, we have letters. We have lowercase letters until our Z, and we have uppercase letters. That is your A, B, C until our Z. So these are the 26 letters. Now, each of the letters will have a particular sound. Those sounds are nothing but phonemes. And every letter has a way that I will write. Correct? So it has a structure. It has a graphical representation. That is the grapheme. And when I'm saying the sound of every letter, my facial expression changes. That is the viseme. So a grapheme is the phonetic sound. A grapheme is the graphical representation of how I write a letter. Phoneme is the sound that I produced when I'm saying the sound of that letter. Viseme is the facial expression of me. For example, when I say ah, look at my jaw. Okay, I say ah. So my jaw completely open. When I say b, When I'm saying B, my lips are getting tucked here. When I say K, my tongue is rolled up. When I say D, D, there's a different sound. So look at your expression. How was your jaw? How was your facial expressions happening? You can ask the child to stand in front of the mirror and you can exercise the 26 letter sounds to children. That facial expression, what you get is the whiseme. A phoneme, grapheme, and the correct whisemes are very, very essential when you want to introduce the letter sound concepts to children or bring the phonetic awareness for them. Okay, so this is one thing. Now, what you teach them is like every alphabet will have special letters. So you can draw a heart on them. Why are you drawing heart on every vowel? Because they are very special. Why they are special? Because they can make two sounds. They can be tricky sometimes. Correct? They can have alternative letter spellings. For example, when I say AY can also make the same sound. AI can also make the same sound. So both AY and AI is also making a long sound A. But look at the spelling. Spellings are different. So my vowel sound A, long sound A, is also helping me to trick my knowledge. So they become a little tricky words for the children. So that's when you give them the spelling rules. So vowels will have multiple sounds also. Apart from the short vowels and the long vowel sounds, they might also have alternative spellings, which the child might find it very difficult. So whenever you introduce the word study and the spelling rules for children, you will slowly bring these ones. Not only for the vowels, you also tell to children, okay, children, the other letters are consonants, but some of the consonants will also have multiple sounds. Correct? So when consonants have multiple sounds, they will not have long sound and short sound, but they will have something called as hard sound and soft sound. Okay? These are the differences that we will give. So when my consonants, write down. So the consonants, they might have different sounds. So they will have a hard and a soft sound. This is basically for my consonant. Now say, for example, let's take for letter C. Okay, if I'm taking for my letter C will make, say, a hard sound. Okay, when I say hard sound, it is making the sound K. Okay, it is making the
Original
K.
sound.
Yes, it's original sound, I can say. For example, cat, caught, cut. It's like that's a hard sound. But it will also make a soft sound. When it makes the soft sound, I can hear the S sound. Correct? I can hear the S sound. For example, words like you have to not use the
Safe.
phone in the class.
Safe.
Which city you belong to? Okay? You have to ride a bicycle. So I say cycle. But here, there are two C's. The first letter C in cycle is making the soft sound. The second C is making the K sound. So it has got a combination of a soft and a hard sound also. Now we come back to the rule. What does the rule say? When is my letter C becoming hard? And when is my letter C becoming soft? Is there a rule for that? Definitely yes. So whenever my letter C is followed by, it is followed by vowel E or
A.
vowel I, no, I, I, or even Y.
A.
It will always, sorry, here. It will make a soft sound when it is followed by E, I, Y. It will make a soft sound. And what is a soft sound? S. Now we got cell, city, cycle. My C is followed by all of that. Correct? Now when can it make a hard sound? When it is followed by what one? Correct. It is followed by A, O, and U.
A. O. U.
So that's when
O. U.
my caught, my cut, it makes a hard sound. Okay. So this is for my letter C. Do I have similar thing for my letter G also? Can my letter G also have a hard sound? What is the original sound of letter G? G. Correct? So it makes the G sound. What is a soft sound?
J.
It makes
The
J.
alphabet sound.
It makes the J sound.
Giraffe.
Okay. For example, yeah, when I have my G sound, I can say goat. I can say
Goggle.
gum,
Glass.
Girl,
glass,
girl,
ghost,
ghost,
yes. So these are all,
goose,
it is all helping me to get the hard sound. When do I get a soft sound? Like words like, let's go to gym, huh? We have to exercise.
Giraffe.
Giraffe, very good.
gem,
Gem, what a gem.
Geometry. Geometry.
Gentleman.
Geometry. So these are my soft sound.
Soft sound.
Soft sound.
Giving me a J sound over here.
Soft
Correct?
sound.
So these are my soft sounds and these are my hard sounds. So what is my rule for it? When do I apply this particular thing? When can I hear it hard? It goes with the same thing. When I have
AOU
my
when
G followed by A O U, it is my hard sound.
AOU.
And hard sound is
Hard
G.
sound.
When does it become soft sound? Same. When it is followed by
I.
E I,
EI.
Y.
Y.
E I and Y. Yes.
Y.
Sure? Sure? Yeah. So your letter C
I.
and the letter G will follow the same vowel rule. Okay, so this will have my soft sound. That's my J. So you can help the children also to understand these differences when to write. It is not that you will tell them analytically, this is how, this is how, this is how. As soon as you get a word, you have to decode why it is ghost, why it is not gim, why it is gym, because there is a Y vowel. You have to always ask them why children, why is that? Ma'am, there is a letter Y. And during those particular lessons, when you encounter these, you can have these sound rules in your classes. You show back to your children and then you can actually ask them, this is what it is going to be helping us to work on. Okay, so this was one such rule that you can bring in. Okay, do you have any such rules again? The next thing what it could be is like, when you start to blend, your other rules will be towards blending, right? Blending is always difficult for children, or it is easy also. Sometimes what you do, how do you blend? When I have a consonant and a consonant, you are correct? So when a consonant and a consonant is blended, you can have a sound. And if it is a sound wherein you can hear the individual sounds, it becomes my consonant blend. For example, when I take my letter B and letter L, what is the sound I hear?
Bl.
bl,
Bl. Bl.
You don't say
Blah.
blah. When you say blah, it's blah.
Bl.
So this is a swelling. When you say blah, this is a swelling. We don't want that. You say bl. When you take your letter C and your letter L, you say pl.
Cl.
Letter P and you take your letter R, you say pr. You don't say pr. When you say pr, unwanted A will also come. We don't want the schwas to be there. We don't want any unnecessary sounds to be present in our learning. We don't want that. Okay, so these are not making new sounds. Why do I call this as my consonant blend? Is because I can still individually hear both the consonant sounds. I can still hear. Now, say suppose, in case if I take my letter now, and if I add this, it doesn't make saha. It makes sh. It's one sound. I can take my letter C and I can take my H and it becomes ch. I can take my letter T and I can add my letter H. It can make two sounds. One is a voiced sound and the other one is an unvoiced sound th. It makes two sounds. Okay. When it is voiced, it makes the. The ko, how will you write? I'm writing in Hindi for all the people to understand. This is the. If you're a Kannadiga, it is the. This is voiced. The second one is unvoiced. You make a th sound. Th.
Oh.
I'm writing in Kannada also. it makes an unvoiced sound. So there are two sounds for it. So if at all, if you have two consonants, when they are blended together and when they are making new sounds, okay, it is making a new sound. Sh, sh, it's making a new sound. Then we call them digraphs. A consonant together making a new sound is a digraph. A consonant together not making a new sound, but still you can hear the individual sounds is called a consonant blend. You have to get these differences. Got it? So we are talking about the consonant blends. Okay. And digraphs. Consonant together, making a new sound is digraph. Consonant together, still I can hear the individual consonant sounds. Then they are called the consonant blends.
Yes.
How do I wrap it?
Blend.
You were saying something? Yes? Please ask. Somebody called me? Yes, no, speak out. I'm waiting. Or we're good to go. Okay. So this is our blending and segmenting
Yes.
rule that you're going to be working on. Okay. Once the blending rules are done. So likewise, I can add a lot of blends. I can bring so many consonant blends. What are my digraphs? Likewise, I have my CH, I have my SH, I have my TH. Likewise, P and H. They make, okay, like phone, photo, PH. Okay, so that's again my digraph. It's making a new sound. I can have my W and H making a new sound. W. Okay, like whale, what? It's a digraph. Okay, now say for example, S and T. Is it making a new sound? No, it is not making a new sound. I can still hear the S and the T. I say stir, stir. I can still hear the S and the T. So it is not a digraph, but it is a consonant blend. Okay, so these are some of the rules that you have to follow when you're working on the blending technique. So you teach children how to blend two letters together, making sound, three letters together to make sounds. Okay, so these are blends. What could be the next concept that we're going to be talking after blending is something related to, or the fifth one, I could say the rules, right? So I can add consonant rules or doubling rules I can actually add. Or I could say whatever we had it no, in the previous one, adding suffixes or adding prefixes. So we can have anything which is that way, okay? So those can be one of the rules for us to actually work on. Changing the last Y to I, that is also one. Okay, so Y to I also we can take. This is also something which is very tricky. So how do I put this? So if at all, if you have a short word, or I can say a single syllable word if I have, and if the word is ending, okay, so let's take any word, a short word, okay, and if the word is ending with the letter Y, then what you do? Then you replace
I.
the letter Y with
I.
I. This is the rule.
I. This
This
is
is the rule. So maybe if I have like what I could say, if I have a word like baby, what I could do, I can add my Y to I, right? So baby, if a plural rule,
I.
change it to BY instead of babies, I will replace that to my Y will change to my I. Okay, this is one of it. The other one, in case you're hearing the E sound, or if there is anything which is heard at the end as E, but you will not write it as I spelling, but you will replace that with Y. That is again with a single syllables. For example, when you hear my, you don't write it as my. Rather, you would write it as Y, because I is too shy to be at the end. So you replace your I with Y. So words like Shy. I don't write it this way. Correct? So how do I write? I write it shy. Let's buy. We don't write it this way. We are replacing that with buy. So this is also one of the rule that you can actually work with it. Most importantly, guys, you should teach something very, very, very important. That is called, how do you break a word? This is important. It is called a process of syllabication. Okay? It's called a process of syllabication. So you have to work on syllables. So that means when you're breaking any given word, every break or every part of that word, or I could say every syllable, should have a vowel sound. That's how you will have to break. For example, if you are having a word like, napkin, okay? So you teacher keeps saying, okay, children, use a napkin when you're eating, okay? So how do I break this word? I say napkin. So when I try to break this particular word like this is one syllable, this is two syllables. So it's a two-syllable word, napkin. So I broke them into two parts. Now, what was my rule? I had to make sure every syllable had a vowel. So does this have a vowel? Yes. Does this have a vowel sound? Yes. So I have to make sure that this is there. So these are something that we will have to be working when there is a combination of something. So let's now decode this word. Okay, so let me take N is a consonant or a vowel? It's a consonant. V is a vowel. P is a consonant. K is a consonant. I is a vowel. N is a consonant. So when you have this combination, I will have to look only at the middle part. Okay, when you have this kind of V, C, 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 V, where there are double consonants, you have to break here. That's the rule of syllabication. So that's the reason you don't say nap. So you don't break it like this. Napkin. You don't break it like this. This is not the way. These rules are not for children. These rules are for teachers. When you're introducing the breaking of the words, you have to make sure you will follow syllabication rules. So syllabication itself is got a big concept of VCCV breaking or VCV breaking, VCV breaking. Okay, so that itself will take at least another class for us to actually work on. But yeah, I will stop over here for today's session because we have exceeded time, and anytime we can also get shut down with the classes also. So please, teachers, remember the phonetic classes, whatever we are actually trying to do or helping the children to read, you have to make sure any words that you're finding it difficult, always come across, wherever there is a possibility for you to explain the meaning of it, you please explain it to children and they have to take it in that particular way itself. So that's something that it is more important for all of us to actually work with the younger children. Okay. So that's it for today. So there was so much of learning and so much of writing. And yes, Nisha. Nisha, we
Ma'am,
might
can you please share
cut down, Nisha.
25th March recording, ma'am?
25th, I think
Tuesday,
I have not shared 25th, the previous
Yes.
and the previous.
Previous
So
also.
I think
Yes,
three
yes.
recordings I will have to share.
Even this one also, ma'am, I missed
This one
out
also.
because
All
I
the four
joined late.
recordings, one shot, I'm going to upload it. I will send all the 4 dates. So you will have 8 recordings. Okay. So I will put it into a document
Yes.
and share you the links. You can go through that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear. Yeah. Take care, everyone. Have a great
Thank you, ma'am.
evening. Bye-bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.